Okay, well then I guess it's time to start and welcome everybody to the eighth and the final, at least of this year, Shadow podcast. And we have something a little different in plan and for today. Instead of interviewing a third person, Allison and I are going to interview each other.
Yeah, you might have noticed there's only two of us.
There's only the two of us. So I'll start by reminding everyone I'm Emily. I play Keket of the Scourge and a rat cultist, and we'll get into more about her and her rituals and all of that as we go. So let me just say, Allison, introduce yourself.
Yeah, we can't give the game away too early. But hi, I'm Allison. I play Hejda Marzana. As Emily mentioned, we'll get into a little bit more about our characters. But Hejda is a politician, a diplomat, as I've told you all before, but more to come as we go on.
Well, and actually more to come right now because we're going to start with me asking you, Allison, to tell us about your character. So tell us about Hejda.
Yeah, I will tell you about Hejda. So Hejda is from the Court of the Dead universe, if you're familiar with the property. It was originally a toy collectibles, like an action figure collectibles property from Sideshow, which they also developed a lot of lore surrounding, and I was fascinated with it when it came out. So she's from that universe very, very loosely. Mostly she's kind of just a homebrewed lich of sorts. I wanted to play a different take on a lich that wasn't your traditional D&D flavor, but she's very, very much inspired by that. So she's a very politically forward focused, sort of cunning, obfuscating, very driven, very duty oriented politician in that way, but she's also a big devotee to the god of death from her universe, so she has a lot of cleric aspects to her as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of her spiel.
But you come from a toy world, is what I'm hearing.
Sort of, yeah. It sounds
now great. I just want to like puppeteer you like with strings or something and have you be that.
Yeah, it's like sort of a that is originally where the property was from. Is they made just a bunch of action figures and they made sort of a setting, like a campaign module, but that was like in comics, I guess, but that's sort of the inception of it. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
Right back at you. Tell us a little bit about Keket, the rat cultist.
Yes, so Keket, as I said, she's of the Scourge, which is what my group of friends we called ourselves. So she comes from a world that we made up. We made up these characters for Drachenfest. They didn't come from a different LARP. But I had a big group of friends who wanted to go, and a lot of them love world building. So we kind of came up with this concept of this world in which basically we are on the brink of the apocalypse and have clawed ourselves back from the edge, like with just will, gumption, and some tenuous luck that's barely holding. So our universe was dying. Everyone was dying, and the more people died, the more it just brought the end about faster.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the vampires, because there are vampires, as you met Vittorio last week, and the human cultists that were still alive banded together to cast a spell to pull some of those souls back. And they became a third kind of creature called the Tethered, which we have a few in our group. Unfortunately,
I've met some of those
this year. Yeah. But yes, they have them, which are kind of like half animal mutated creatures with human souls in them.
Which is rad as hell.
Yeah. And Keket is one of the cultists. She's actually probably the most magically inclined of the cultists we have. She's a lot of the Scourge just call her witch. She's usually sometimes hiding in the dungeons of the vampires' castles, sometimes just out in the swamps doing her own thing, hiding about. She's a figure a lot of them are a little wary of, but at the same time, she's human and mortal, so she has to be careful in a way that a lot of other beings don't have to be. So yeah, she comes from a really awful world where she's come out fairly on top. You know, before the end, life, she was an outcast and everything, and then the end came about and all the inn people died. And she was like, "Ha, look who's laughing now."
Yeah, right.
And yeah, and she sees Drachenfest really as quite the vacation, because she comes to this beautiful world where there's a sun in the sky and there's plentiful food for the vampires and for the tethered, and she doesn't have to watch her back every second the same way, and for all of everything that she's like, she has time just to do whatever she wants. So that's part of why she gets up to so many shenanigans.
It sounds the best. It sounds like such a good time for her.
It's something all the cultists in the Scourge have said. It's like, yeah, when we're at Drachenfest, we're on vacation, and our cultist group has gone silly. So it's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it too, because I think you and I have an opposite experience in that way. Whereas like Keket's on vacation, Hejda conversely is like coming from one war to another war, where Drachenfest, I would say, is framed as less of a severe situation. It is like it's a contest of who's the coolest sibling, rather than it being an actual bona fide war. But it's a lot of like conflict on conflict.
Yeah, you don't really get a break the same way.
Not a break, yeah, not so much, unfortunately, but it still makes it interesting. So we learned a little bit about Keket. Why did you first decide to join Shadow, though?
So it was a group decision. Mike talked about this a bit last week, and truthfully, by the time I was like, yes, I'm definitely going to Drachenfest, I was told I was going to be in Shadow by my friends. They were like, we're going to Shadow. And
You've
I was
been
like,
assigned.
Yeah, okay. It sounds cool. And then, it was like, what do you want to be? Let's make up characters. I mean, I could have gone somewhere else, but Shadow sounded fun. The LARP I was playing at that point, I wouldn't say she was no, I don't know, paladin or anything, but she was more of a goody-goody type character and tend to follow the law, follow the rules, and things like that. So the idea to play a little bit of a darker character, not necessarily in like a "my life is so awful," but in a
morally ambiguous sort of way.
Morally ambiguous, definitely selfish character. Because I would say more than anything like evil, Keket's selfish. Like, she does things that are for her. She's probably very like chaotic neutral. She's just,
I think that seems fair for
her.
Yeah,
that's what she does, right? And so being able to play a character like that sounded a lot of fun, and that's kind of what coming into Shadow. I mean, you could play that anywhere, but Shadow seemed a good spot to play this little, explore the ambiguity and whatnot. Also, I look good in purple, so that was a draw too, because purple's definitely one of our Shadow colors.
Yep. It's all about the drip. It's all about the fashion at the end of the day. I think that's very fair to say, though, that like you can truly play like an evil character in any camp. You can play a neutral character in any camp. But I think Shadow really does thrive on the variety of like alignment spectrum you can attach yourself to. So I totally feel that.
Definitely. Now, what about you? Because you came alone, so this decision was 100% your own.
This was 100%. Similarly to Mike, I was really torn between Silver and Shadow when I was first deciding. Hejda, I had come up with prior to picking a camp, and I could really see her existing in either one. I could see her going kind of like the more traditional route and existing in Shadow as a lich, but then I thought the idea of somebody that was like so morally focused, but like, because she's not evil, she is just like more like she's got her own code, her own compass, her own agenda items. The war she is fighting in her homeworld is like objectively good. She is doing good things. She just I reframed how I was approaching her, and ultimately decided on Shadow because I sort of went by the impetus of sometimes it takes a devil to get good deeds done. Like sometimes only like certain deeds only a devil can commit, that sort of idea. Because I think I've always been attracted to those types of characters, like the really complex, like again, the moral ambiguity, like you talked about. I'm really, really attracted to those types of characters in media. So I thought it would be really fun to lean into that and play into it. And Shadow, similar to what a lot of our guests have talked about, I knew it was going to be just like a very vibrant camp because like I've always been a goth kid. I was like super scene, super emo. I'm a big metalhead. I like just the vibes of the player base. I was like, that's where my people are going to be. So it was pretty concretely laid in place. I would say really early. Like I still have a big soft spot in my heart for Silver just because I think thematically they're also very cool. I would just say they're the antithesis in a lot of ways thematically to Shadow, which like made it a cool choice between both camps. But yeah, ultimately Shadow won my heart.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel you on the vibes level too. I mean, as Allison knows because she's visited me for this, I adore like Halloween and the spooky vibes and all of that. Like I adore that aesthetic and don't always commit to it all the time in my everyday life. So I love a good chance to dive in deep for a while, whether it be Drachenfest or Halloween or something. It's a great time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Shadow's got the vibes for sure.
Shadow 100% has the vibes. Yes.
Yeah. So you were torn. You weren't sure, but you went with Shadow. Obviously, you made the right choice.
I think so.
You have stayed. So what's kept you here? Why have you stayed in Shadow?
Because I'm a lifer now. I'm like 100% unequivocally a lifer to the point where I signed up to be camp coordinator this year.
Yeah, you did, you crazy woman.
I went in real deep to being like, I'm never leaving, actually. I truly, what kept me was even before the game started. We've talked a little bit about it, you and I, and some of our guests, where like I got adopted. I was a solo traveler and the Scourge adopted me very, very quickly. But even before game started, I was active on the Discord. I'm a big crafter. I wanted to get involved in helping out with decorating camp and organizing camp even before I arrived, just because I thought that would be a good way to like meet some new people and hopefully hit the ground running with some amount of familiarity with who I was going to be invested with. And everybody was so kind and so welcoming and so like inviting of my ideas and my creative voice. And I think that was kind of what hooked me to start. And then getting to the game and just like feeling the love from Scourge, meeting a bunch of new friends. Like I walked away from year one with like a gaggle of new, really, really close friends all over the country, in Canada, like, all over the place. And it was like I couldn't picture myself going elsewhere, just because I feel like it's something Mike spoke to a little bit last time when we talked to him, is I think the attitude of shadow campers, at least like obviously we've not played in other camps, so this could be true of other camps as well. But what I've seen unanimously across the board with a lot of shadow campers, and like the core of it, is people want to make it a home. People want to make it a family. They want to make it as good as it can be. We have a lot of tryhards. We have a lot of really like intensely passionate people that put all of their creative energy and all of like their time and their commitment into the things that they're excited about for game. And it's just so beautiful to see. And like, honestly, that's what drove me to do camp coordinating, because I was like, I want to help make that happen. I like spreadsheets. Like, let me assist with making all of this stuff kind of rock and roll, because it was just like delightful to get to see that firsthand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what about yourself? Why did you decide to stay in Shadow?
Oh, besides living out my goth girl dreams.
Right, yeah, like that's important. That's let's not undermine that.
Yeah, right? There's no denying the Scourge, like as a whole, loved Shadow and wanted to stay in Shadow. So like that definitely helped like cement it that we were all having such a good time.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I felt like I was tied to Shadow from the beginning, between like marrying off some skeletons. Like, where else was I going to take Cassandra, right? Like, take her to Green? Like, no, they won't. They wouldn't even like. I'm sure many Green people love the skeletons, but the Green Avatar wouldn't like snub the wedding because she wasn't sure about these undead and doing something like marrying.
The
like,
vibes were not matching.
Where else was I gonna go other than here? And I think also playing into the magic elements of the game so much, which I do with Keket. She's very hardcore in the magic elements of the game. Like, Shadow's the best camp for this. Like, Shadow's the best camp, period. But Shadow, I'm not biased. It just is.
We're very biased, but it's fine.
But like, that's one of the the tenets of the shadow avatar, right? Is like magic and this power through magic and whatnot. And so you find so many amazing magic users. You find like the magic vibes are just peak in
They're
shadow camp,
immaculate.
that like I had to stay. I fell in love. It's just I fell in love. Where else was I gonna go? It became home. So yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I think we both, for our own reasons and for a lot of the same reasons, just were like heart eyes, like, oh, this is the place for me, which I
Yeah.
love. I love about that.
Yep.
Outside or maybe including Shadow, what's been your favorite part of the camping experience at Drag?
Not the weather.
Not yeah,
Uh,
I think we all universally can write that one the heck off.
yeah. I mean, I've talked about this in previous interviews when people have said like just how in game it makes you to be in camp. And so in general, that I love that about the camp experience. I love the being in the woods with my friends, being someone else, turning off my phone, not looking at technology, just that immersion experience is so great. And then I would say like with Shadow Camp, as we've talked about, people have put so much effort into building up this camp and whatnot. Being in Shadow Camp and being part of this family and this group effort, especially this group effort that I know some people are really there for the war game, but like a lot of Shadow Camp feels like just there to be Shadow Camp
I
and
would agree
do the best
100%.
at what we are. Like I really have loved that.
Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
great take. I love your point about like, yeah, the war game I think is very important to some people. It's important to us too. Like we both participated in the final battle. Everybody goes
Yeah.
real ham on that sort of stuff, but I love that we can like develop this sort of intrinsically shadow space within the camp that we all build with our own hands. It just like feels really real world magical at the end of the day.
It
It's
does.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so what about you? I mean, you must love the camp experience. You're camp coordinator now,
Yep.
so you're very committed to it. What's your favorite part of the camp experience, either shadow specific or
Or the game at
camping?
large. Yeah, I
Yeah.
I think I could touch on a lot of aspects about what I've enjoyed about camp coordinating, but I don't know that I will, just because I think that's a lot of it's kind of just reinstating, like, reiterating what I just spoke of, where it's like I love helping people realize their vision with
Yeah.
regards to shadow camp. That part's absolutely beautiful. Sort of piggybacking off of what you said, though, just the ability to immerse yourself and disconnect. One of my absolute favorite things that I didn't realize I didn't know I needed it until it happened the first year, and it also subsequently happened the second year, is like walking alone at night in the game space. Being like in character. I'm a bit of like a self-reflective person, so like, Drachenfest as a solo traveler, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit overwhelming at first, and totally worth it, mind, but like a little bit overwhelming at first. And
Yeah.
I really wanted to take an opportunity to like travel between our camp and the bazaar and all of the other camps. Like I did a lot of walking that first year, and being able to sort of like quietly make my way from place to place, especially in the evening, and just sort of like sit and think and reflect on the character I was playing, and like kind of being in Hejda's head as I was observing everybody, playing out their games in their camp, or playing in the bazaar, or playing in our camp, like seeing those moments and it was like felt very fly on the wall in a way that also brought in that real world magic to me, where it was like I felt very
Yeah.
in it without having to be vocal or having to be really entrenched in a scene. I got to just like observe all these beautiful moments that otherwise I would not have gotten to, because like, we have to be we have to be on site and like actually participating in the game space to get to have those. So it was really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was almost poetic. Very lovely. Good answer.
Turns out I like this game a whole lot.
A whole lot. Yeah. I gotta say, like, you coming in as a solo traveler to Draken, like I'm a little in awe of people who do that. Like I would be so overwhelmed and intimidated to come in. Like at this point now, sure. But like just starting, damn girl.
No, I get you.
Anyone else who's doing it? Like I think it's great. I think it's worth it. I think you'll find a welcoming community. But there's no denying the intimidation factor.
Totally. Yeah. And I think that's like, I would say, again, just to like give credit where credit is due to our camp and our people, is like I 100% felt that intimidation until I didn't. It took very little effort on my part to reach out. Like you do have to make kind of the first step and like put yourself out there. That part's hard. And it was hard for me. But I think once you do that, it's very effervescent afterwards, like very, very easy to get the feedback that you're looking for, where people will just be like, yes, of course, like come with us.
Yeah.
And that part's so worth it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good yes and game, or at least Shadow is a good yes and game.
100%. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Again, I'm a Shadow lifer, so I don't know the others as well, but it is. And I guess speaking of Shadow's yes and-ness, what is your favorite quirky Shadow moment?
Mike stole mine, so I'm going to have to come up with a different one here.
So it was losing the Book of Shadows?
That whole sequence, yeah. I think I can probably add to it is what I can do, because there was a part of it that he didn't get to see. But so this is going to be a big plug. If you didn't go and listen to our episode with Mike, go do it, because it's very important. But basically, we had just lost the Book of Shadows. Everything was going to shit. Our camp was being sieged. I was the head diplomat that year. And it was like kind of a lot my fault that all of this stuff was happening. And I remember Vittorio left. I was with our mutual friend Kevin, who plays one of the tethered, and he had become untethered by that point, so he was in full paladin mode. And he was acting as my bodyguard. And he and I were running around trying to figure out how the heck to remedy the situation. And one of the things on my to-do list was I needed to get a huge amount of coin to the orcs so that they would actually fight for us again, because they had kind of annexed at that point. They were like, nah, we're going to go drink at Blue Camp. You guys are on your own. And this was a little bit of a plot thread that was in place. We sort of, out of nowhere, I thought this was going to be a big organized ordeal. We sort of out of nowhere were deposited a gigantic chest full of money in the middle of the bazaar. And Kevin and I, being good sports and good players that were very in the moment, didn't realize that if it's not a lootable item, you cannot just steal people's money on the road. That's not allowed. But he and I didn't know any better and kind of just went with it. So we were like, oh my God, we're going to get robbed. And we have probably 400 pieces of copper on us in this chest.
Yeah.
And I will commend his role-playing skills until I die, because he was so invested in hiding this thing. He was like taking off pieces of his armor and like wrapping it and trying to like conceal it on his person. And he and I are like hoofing it back to camp to try and get there. So we go the back way. And as we are on approach to Shadow, we see that Shadow is being sieged, and we're like, oh no. Not only is Shadow being sieged, it appears that our banner has been stolen and they are coming this way towards us. So he and I just do a full like Scooby-Doo heel turn. I remember picking up my skirts and we book it back the way we came in the heat dome, in the heat. And he and I hid in an alcove for an hour. We had lovely backstory time. We just like were chilling while Shadow was being absolutely destroyed during the siege. Fast forward, the siege ends. Night is starting to fall. We have left the chest behind to try and like make sense of how we're going to get this back to camp. And Kevin very quickly is like, I'm going to get an honor guard together. Don't worry. And I was like, great, sounds good. The green liaison for diplomacy is like waiting outside of our gates.
Yeah.
Waiting to talk to me. And I was like, okay, well, I got to go do this. So I go and I sit at the back of our camp with the green liaison. And all the while, I hear people running around in Shadow going, where's Hejda? Where's our diplomat? Where's our diplomat? They can't, like, it's dark enough where nobody can see me.
They can't find you, yeah.
And I just didn't say anything because at this point, were trying very hard to ratify the alliance with Green Camp. It was like the last big thing I had to do. So you can piggyback off of this part because you were involved in this bit. Is I knew that the ritual to curse Green Camp was going to start at some point that evening that we may or may not have been involved with. I just happened to hear word on the street that Green was going to be cursed. And the liaison I was speaking with was like, well, let's let our camps involve in revelry tonight. And he was like such a wonderful role player. And he was like, let's engage in some revelry tonight and we'll put pen to paper tomorrow morning. And I was like, you know what? No, let's do it right now.
Right now. Yeah.
Let's make this happen immediately. And so he and I, walk all the way up to Green Camp just by ourselves, all the while, again, hearing people in the background getting quieter and quieter as we're leaving camp, as they're looking for me and can't find me. As we get to Green Camp, I kid you not, it was like movie timing. We all sat down, the actual diplomat from Green, all of her people, we sat down, we signed the alliance, and I hear the refs call the curse in. And I was like, we gotta go, bro. Like, I was like, we gotta get out of here. And we went to the bazaar and we got drunk and it was great. It was the best. And the following morning, it was I just remember a few of Scourge coming up and being like, where were you? And where did you get all this money? And that was like sort of where the story ended for that one. But it was the best. It was the best night.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the thread of shenanigans that can happen, right? Is so where it's like you pull one thread and suddenly you're on a whole different path and doing so many things you don't even know about.
It's like a huge domino effect. It's crazy. Yeah, it is like a thread. It's just a sweater unraveling where there are also 3 other sweaters where you're like, oh no. And I think you kind of just got to roll with it. I think that's the lesson I learned was just roll with it. You'll have the best time. But yeah, so what about yourself? What's your favorite intrinsically quirky shadow moment?
So I've been thinking about this because it's hard. I mean, I could say something to do with the skeletons. But the skeletons have been so embraced by all of Drachenfest that I don't feel like they're yes, they're of shadow and blue, but I don't feel like it's an intrinsically shadow moment. What made the skeletons, the wedding, and then making baby Abyssa so awesome was just the way all of Drachenfest have
I think that's
embraced
fair.
them.
Yeah.
I mean, literally the picture for the Drachenfest Discord, right? The unofficial Discord is a picture of that wedding. It is me hand casting Cassandra and Edgar together. That's actually me in the picture. You can't see my head, but that's me.
She was there.
I was there. I did it. So that's just been so embraced that I mean, that was amazing. I guess I've got 2 kind of stories then to tell.
Go for it. Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready for story time.
One's a little thing. One's just a little thing, which was at the end of game last year, after the final battle, when we were going back for closing ceremony, a whole bunch of shadow people went back to the Great Ritual Circle for the ceremony, right away. We were kind of the first people there, and we were sitting under a tree in the shade, and we just started chanting things. We were having so much fun. We'd lost, gone our way, whatever. And we just were chanting. And the shadow, just revelry was amazing.
Yeah.
Of we chanted for different shadow people as they walked up. We chanted shadow chants. We were chanting chant at one point. we were chanting so much that as the other camps came, they started trying to out-chant us and utterly failed. Because we just they would try, we just got louder and chanted something more ridiculous instead. We were chanting, I think we probably chanted for you at one point. We chanted for Amanda, our camp coordinator of last year. We chanted if it could be chanted, we did it. And
does it chant? Yes.
Plays into the goth Muppet so hilariously. We were just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a random quirky shadow moment of just having so much fun. So that one, when I was reflecting on this, I was like, you know what? That was really fun
It
and
was really
ridiculous and
fun.
quirky.
Yeah.
So that was a moment. But then I think my favorite shadow shenanigans story to tell, there's a few, but a friend of mine in the Scourge, the first year we came, decided to be the ultimate spy, basically. So, and Cam, if you're watching this, I love you. He was playing a character called Husk, and Husk, in like his normal outfit, was like in full everything covered. Like he was in robes. So this was the year before the heat domes, which made this at all possible.
Made it possible.
Full robes, like every inch of skin covered, mask, like this kind of generic, well,
like
not
a
generic,
plague doctor?
like this. Yeah, like it wasn't like a mask, but it was like you couldn't see him anything, and he was just covered, right? And he was like this, and like playing an old man, like he had a walking stick, he was like hunched over, and that was Husk. But we could do a ritual to pull back and kind of reskin Husk, as it were, and let him look more human. And Cam had decided before he even came to the game that he was going to play this hard. So he brought costumes for every single camp. He spent all of the setup the days before looking his normal self, and then minutes before game started went and shaved off his beard so he would be less recognizable. Like the commitment was amazing. He was never interacting with anyone in Shadow or like the Scourge or anything unless he was in full Husk outfit, and the rest of the time he spent running around in his normal skin in various camps pretending to be in other camps. He literally was the cupbearer for Silver for half a day. He spent most of his time was spent in Silver. He was doing the passports for Silver. He was Silver's like squire, like cupbearer. I think he got handed like the red avatar's passport or something that got like revoked and like taken in, and he was like, yes, of course, took it back and just slipped it into his pocket, right? And like ran off with it and used it to do other things. He literally had to siege Shadow at one point because he was with Silver when they decided to siege Shadow, and died and went to Limbus with a bunch of fellow Silver people. At which point he was like, in Limbus, he was like, we don't remember anything that happens here, right? And they're, no, you don't. You don't remember Limbus. And he was like, hello, I'm Husk of Shadow. Nice to meet you. He like spent time in Red Camp at one point. He was casing their walls and like figuring out all their strength. Like he was all over. And every time. And so the only downside was I never got to play with my friend, except for like a few moments when he was fully masked, because I would just see Cam running across fields and stuff, going from camps to camp, suddenly in a different outfit or with a different hat, like in a red shirt now or something. And I would just have to pretend I didn't know him. So the commitment to the subterfuge was so
just on point.
On point. That level of quirkiness was so funny. It was just out of this world. It was beautiful. And I would say Shadow Camp has kept up its subterfuge game
100%,
like in various ways all throughout. Like we talked about this in an earlier episode, but like the just walking out with Red's banner after we put on a show last year, like late at night, which as it turned out was after hours and we couldn't do, but we'd had the go ahead, we did it, and like we pulled it off. It was so like just that kind of ridiculous level of subterfuge where you're like, this is never going to work, and somehow it works.
Yes.
Though I'm usually more just watching it or like playing the distraction, I love those quirky Shadow moments so much.
We thrive in those, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you remember the bit about me saying we had tryhards, but yeah, Cam definitely embodied that with that action.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So good. I still don't even know all of what he got up to that year, right? Like
he's too busy becoming a folk hero. That's why you didn't get to play.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh my god.
Like, yeah, and like I mean I don't want to say all of the things the stories I know about of the subterfuge because some of it's still ongoing and whatnot. But the
Yeah,
things
that's
I
fair.
have heard about and watched people get up to in like various spy and thief and just ridiculous games of doing things secretly are just, they're beautiful.
You and I are both oft on the periphery of those events, and I agree.
Yeah.
It's one of the most fun things I enjoy watching. Where I can just I'll be somewhere talking to somebody, I'll hear somebody's voice I recognize, and I'll just be like, "What are you up to?"
Exactly, right?
It's great. It's the best. So,
Yeah.
pivoting slightly away from the subterfuge game, but something you're definitely very involved in camp. What's your favorite ritual you've ever performed, Miss Ritual Master?
This is really hard because I've gone to do so many good ones. Like, I mean, marrying the skeletons is like seared into my brain.
Yeah.
Because like that was my first year. I did it in the Great Ritual Circle. I spent like half the event wedding planning.
You went
just for
set the bar
everything
high.
to follow, just for everything to fall apart morning of, because we were doing it the morning before the final battle, and like it was pouring rain, and then we were having diplomacy issues that day, and like I was losing bridesmaids, and I literally was almost in tears at one point because I'm like, everything's going wrong.
It's like a real wedding.
And that's what was said to me. Someone came up and they're like, "No, it's perfect. It's a real wedding." I was like, "It's a real wedding." So that whole experience is pretty special. My first, like doing a cosmic ritual, that was such a thrill. And then making Abyssa, tons of fun. And like I've done some little rituals too that I've really loved. Like 2 years ago, it was a full moon and we captured moonlight, and like I had a light whip for it, and it was like some of the little ones, or like just doing a little scrying ritual, have been like, it's not always the grand ones, right? But I think my absolute favorite is actually not a ritual I was running.
Oh, okay.
I was the focus of. So this is so like, I mean, which is the favorite I've run? I don't know.
This counts.
I can't pick.
No. This counts. I like it.
Ritual overall. I was the focus of it, but I was not running it. This was again my first year, and I had gotten, so my character's a witch, and I had gotten a living doll that first year. So she was like played by a real character. She was part of the bazaar, and truly through didn't have anything to do with luring her to shadow camp or murdering her. Absolutely, like truly didn't.
Scout's honor did not happen, Your Honor.
And then the healer Kursk, who he's a lot of fun to interact with, was like going through, like trying to scavenge her body afterwards for bits and pieces, and was like, "What? Automaton? What? She's a doll. Witch, you can have her." And I was like, "Wait, a doll? A living? Ooh!" And like I stole her basically. I chained her to my will through magic and got myself a familiar. And the player was like so on board. She was like, "This is the best thing that could have happened."
I love that she was so on board with it. Yeah.
Like I painted like sigils on her, and I'm like, "You're mine now." And she showed up. Like she had some stuff she had to do in the bazaar, but like she showed up every day, multiple times, checked in with me. "Mistress, what do you want me to do?" She was peak in helping me get that wedding together. And there was a group in the bazaar called the Free Familiars, and they were past witches and wizards familiars that had freed themselves, and
what are the odds?
It was, the serendipity was amazing, right? Like none of this was planned, but we all just got led to each other, and they took, of course, great offense to Marion being, now that was her name, being under my will and being my enslaved familiar. So I became their villain and their evil bad. They sent witch hunters after me. Who like found me at one point, asked for my name. I confirmed my name and then thought somehow that they still had the wrong person. It was So funny. Watching the bumbling of people trying to find me and figure out what to do. I would hear whispers of like I would be walking around the bazaar and I'd hear whispers of like, oh, that one in the skirt, right? And I was like, right? Like just getting to feel like this ultimate villain was so cool. And so eventually they lured me to a ritual at Green Camp. So Keket will never, ever do a ritual at Green Camp again, and nor forgive them. Now, out of character, I knew that this was a trap. It was
Yeah,
all
of
cleared
course.
and everything. But in character, right? She thought she was. I can't even remember. It was a ritual that I was told like needed a ritualist from each camp, and it was to help this guy. And she was being not selfish for once and thought, cool, yeah, I can go do some ritual magic there. And showed up immediately. They were not chill. They were so suspicious. They were so suspicious. And she was like, something's wrong, but there's a really big scary guy walking behind me who's staring at me. I don't think I can run away. So she's playing it off bravado, and of course we get to their ritual circle, and like she's kind of like, nah, I don't think I want to do this. And they grab her and like force her in, and all the free familiars are suddenly there, and they do this ritual to break her tie over Marion. And it was so much fun. I got to feel like I'm struggling and cursing them and yelling at them and calling them all hypocrites and stuff. Because,
Yeah.
like, in fairness to me, I'd been watching out for Marion. Like, I'd had someone like dealt with by the law who had poisoned her. I had been taking care of her. I was like, you all don't know. You have no connections. You are oath breakers and stuff like that. And I got to feel so So in the end, they broke the chains, but I got to feel so powerful because it took like a dozen people to do this, to break my magic. And they got to have this wonderful story where they overcame this like big villain and this big bad, and like they made their quest.
They got their whole purpose fulfilled. It was like the people who free familiars.
And at the end, you know, I'm just like kind of telling them, like I'm trying to get into their heads, tell them their fears, like as the ritual's over. And like the main ritualist, like I actually cast fear on him, and I actually also like cast some bloodied bones in their ritual circle, thus contaminating their ritual circle, which they had to deal with the next morning, right? Stuff like that. And I go storming back to Shadow Camp, cursing about like, you know, stupid familiars. And who do I run into on the way? Right outside Shadow Camp, but the newly freed Marion. Now,
the drama of this.
I don't recapture her because like could I have? Yes, but like we were both like, no, we don't want to poo-poo their fun. They just
right, exactly, yeah,
recapture her. So instead I use her, and I go, it's like, I don't know, it's like almost midnight, right? And I go like marching into camp, like dragging her by her hand, and I'm like walking into camp, and I'm like, Kursk, I need tongues, and like I'm grabbing props from people. I'm like, what do people have? Those stupid familiars. And I go over to Plot, and I'm like, I just got like essentially mugged by a bunch of like nasty little upstarts, and I'm going to curse them back. And like literally Plot has to like gets called. They come in and they're like, aren't you the witch we just saw? And I'm like, yes, and I'm angry. And like so that I like do a counter ritual just off there. Like I literally even have, and I still have, guys, be careful, the token of the free familiars. Like I had their token and everything. The Plot was just like, damn, you're a good witch. And I'm like, I'm cursing them back. So like the main ritualist, I cursed him to wake up with like extra tongues in his mouth, and like
I enjoy that.
feeling
it's very
of them
witchy
licking all over his skin, like just an RP thing, right?
Yeah,
but just like, I'm not gonna let this stand, like throw on a whole ritual. So having my magics broken in that epic ritual at Green Camp, and then getting to like counter curse back just the main ritualist and be like, oh, and he found me the next day, and he was, by that point he'd broken the curse and was wearing the tongues as like a point of pride.
Perfect.
Like, across his outfit. Was just, it was so much fun. So that's That's actually my favorite ritual sequence, I would say.
I love that. God, I've heard that
Yeah.
story in a smaller format before. I've not heard the details to this extent, but that just like went hard the entire time.
It was so much fun. And that's when people like want to play a villain or something. I think like this is the way to play it. It's like play to lose, but make them work for it.
Yeah,
Right? Like
conflict is interesting.
You don't want necessarily the big bad to win, but like you get to feel so cool when it takes a dozen people to overcome something you did on a whim at the beginning of the game and like tethered someone to you. Like it was such an amazing sequence. And so I had so much fun losing, as it were.
I love
and
that.
I know they had fun too. In fact, one of them, and I still don't know who because they sent it through a third party, sent me a beautiful gift like at the end after game was over to thank me for like the plot and whatnot.
That's like the best response to that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was so lovely. And I still have it. I usually hang it up somewhere in my camp setup when I come to Drachenfest.
I love that.
It's a little charm thing. Yeah. But yeah, that was so much fun.
Cute and also full of drama.
Yes.
Which I love.
Okay, so that's me and rituals. But of course, your thing is diplomacy.
That is, so, it's been said. That might be my thing.
It's been said. So I want to know, in general, a bit about what being a diplomat's like in Drachenfest. But I want to know about your favorite time that diplomacy went wrong. I'm sure there's times it went right and you felt all epic, like the green contract. But your favorite time that diplomacy went wrong.
Oh man, I mean, most times I would say that it definitely went wrong, and I think that was the interesting part about it was the because I like just being involved as the head diplomat. I think gives you a little bit more of a behind the scenes look than you would otherwise get as like a support or an ambassador or something like that. I think you get all of the good parts of it being an ambassador, but being head diplomat, I think like being any sort of leadership role, you get like a little bit more of like a game runner torch has been put in your hands in some regard where you're trying to create a lot of game for other people. And as like very similarly to you, I love when losing is fun. I love that stuff. When failure can be spectacular and fun, I'm all about it. I eat that stuff up. I think one of the things that was probably my favorite when diplomacy went wrong was what happened with the orcs in the final battle my first year. So this was a long thread that went through the entirety of the game, where the orcs were still very much a part of Shadow Camp at this point. They have since become their own enterprise, and the Bazaar vibes are still great. But at that point, they were still very much integrated into our camp as like a sub-faction. And something that the orcs liked to play up was like tension between the just like Shadow Camp proper versus the orc, like the Dark Banner players. And Alex, who plays Golm, who was one of our generals that year. So we had Vito was one of our generals, and then Golm was our other general. Alex, the player, and I had this back and forth going the entire time where he's a stellar player, and he and I have played in a lot of other games since. And I always enjoy kind of riffing off of him because he also supports just game running in a very interesting way, where we knew that something was going to happen. That was about the tone from beginning to end with the orcs. And I think that what ended up happening, just to recap quickly, is the orcs were sided with us. They very quickly turncoated when the final battle happened. They decimated Green Camp, who were our allies at that point, and then turncoated back and fought on our side. And I could kind of read the tea leaves that something like that was going to happen from the jump. But what had predated that, I think, was the more interesting part from my perspective was Red Camp's head diplomat and myself the previous night had gotten into a discussion about trying to basically win the orcs' favor in order to sort of allow them to buy their freedom. That was a big plot thread that we were trying to facilitate. And basically every single time that I tried to facilitate something that was like prizeworthy or noteworthy enough to get the orc's attention for Shadow, it just failed. It failed almost every single time. The funniest part, though, it kept happening to Red too. Like it didn't go any better for Red, where both of us were like trying to build this up to be this big climactic moment, and we just like could not get the pieces to land. And yeah, it ended up being really memorable and funny, though, because every time I would hear somebody come back and be like, hey, we tried to do this thing. It didn't work. Hey, we tried to steal this thing. It's gone. It got taken right out from under us. Like it would be moments like that where I'd have all these little, like I had a bunch of fingers and a bunch of pies and none of them came to fruition. So that was sort of how that whole thing culminated. But I'm gonna split it now too. I'm gonna do my two-parter. Is even before all of that happened, I would say that my inauguration as head diplomat went wrong. I would say that went wrong. It went right and it went wrong at the same time. But it was just like a very it's a very roll with it, see what happens sort of moment. And I'm glad that I did. Because at Shadow Camp, the way that we decided that year, at least, the way that we decided who was going to be head diplomat is in the Book of Shadows. It had written, you have to break up a promise that two people have made, like get two people to break a promise that they've made with one another, which I thought was a very interesting open-ended prompt. And the target of which was Vittorio and his sisters, just because they happened to be near me when we were walking to the opening ceremonies, and I'm a good eavesdropper.
Yep.
So all it was very innocuous. They had a bet going. I heard about their bet. And all I had to do was get them to sign the book saying that they had broken their wager. They'd broken their promise to one another. Vito, I asked him first, and he was like, I will absolutely do it. There is absolutely no way you're going to convince my sister to do it. And I was like, noted. Vito's got two sisters, not just one. So I walked up to the second sister and I go, what would I have to give you to have you forge your sister's name in the Book of Shadows? And I remember she like downed her drink and she went, fuck it, let's do it. And that part of it went very, very well, because at that point, like Mike, I think, didn't even realize what I had done out of character. Yeah. I think he thought I got the actual sister who had the actual wager to sign the book. And he was like, how did you do that? So I'm literally on my knees, like presenting the book to the avatar. And our mutual friend Anna, who plays the actual older sister, comes over and is like knife to my throat, ready to kill me. Ready to end me right then and there, because she found out what happened. And I'm like in front of the avatar. We're both in front of the avatar. The only thing that is staying her hand is the fact that the avatar is like, no, this is going to be our head diplomat. And so Anna and Anna's character now just like has it out for mine, which is great. Like we have this wonderful rivalry, which like one day she will kill me. I know one day that's going to bite me in the butts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she doesn't forget. She holds grudges very well.
Yeah, which is great. So like it hasn't gone wrong yet, but like it absolutely will.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think the failures are some of my favorite. I would say unequivocally the failures of being diplomat were more fun than the victories. I did like the victories a lot, but I think the failures are they're so gamey. Like that's why we play tabletops. That's why we play role-playing games. That's why we do all this stuff, because I think that spectacularly failing and then getting to sort of pick yourself back up afterwards and doing something with it is
it's the chance to pick yourself back up.
Adversity.
Failing itself isn't always the fun part, but the picking yourself back up and overcoming it. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't stop when you fail. You got to keep going.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have the time of your life and have an amazing story.
Exactly. I totally agree. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. Well, we must assume now that this would never be a failure. But your final question. If the Shadow Avatar were to negotiate an alliance, which of course would never fail, who do you think it would be with? And what would the shadow avatar's main negotiation tactic be?
Oh, I do really love this question, and I very purposely didn't preload an answer because I kind of wanted to Rorschach test it a little bit because
Yeah.
I think they're similarly to some like what our guests have talked about in the past. Like, there's a very easy answer, right? I think there's a very easy answer where the shadow avatar is like smoothest wit, like minces way. It's like basically making a deal with the devil or making a fey pact. Like like I think the
Yeah.
shadow avatar embodies that aspect very, very well, which is why we attract a lot of players that play characters like that. I think
Yep.
that talking and being able to sort of weave a contract around somebody would be effortless. Absolutely. What I think is also very much their speed is subverting expectation. I think subverting expectation is one thing that like Shadow as a whole does well, but the Avatar definitely propels as a character themselves. Is like some of the most beautiful moments I've ever seen are between Shadow and Silver for that reason, where like Silver for all intents and purposes is the antithesis, and Shadow
Yeah.
and Silver together is like this beautiful yin and yang combination. They both made Limbus. Like there's all sorts of there's cool stuff going on there. So I think that the alliances they would make within the Drachenlands, I think, are very much like who seems like they would benefit the most. But truly, at the end of the day, it's like making the other party think that they have benefited, when in reality, we've gotten what we want out of that exchange more than anything else. But I think going even beyond that, like, there's no rules. The dragons can do whatever they want. They're all powerful beings. I think the Shadow Avatar would straight up make a deal with death.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that would be, the very like clear road forward for them. And I think that there's all of these different interpretations that players bring of like their gods of death or death god, like, death as a concept,
Yep.
harnessing and like sort of being able to lock that down either in like a personified form or some sort of alliance, would be so cool, and I think so on brand for
Yep.
the Shadow Avatar. And like again, something I think that
Definitely.
they probably have already done it. We probably just don't even know
probably.
about it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Because why would it end up being anyone else? And they probably have. You're right. Already done.
I think it's a ticking time bomb. We're gonna find out something where they've probably even superseded that at this point, because I think that's the most fun part of playing against that, or like, in conjunction with that character. Playing with the Shadow Avatar is like, the rest of the players in the other camps are always like, oh, we don't know what to expect, we don't know what the Shadow Avatar is up to. We don't know. The people that are in Shadow don't know either. And that's the best part. It's like, it's so
the best
fun.
part.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the Shadow Avatar is fond of us almost despite themselves. And in fact, I think they're probably in some ways more fond of their camp than most of the other avatars seem to be. But like, what's going on in their head and what they're up to and what
they're very enigmatic.
No Shadow player has a clue.
Yeah.
We're just trying to do our best to make them happy, and every once in a while see if we can make them crack and, smirk a little or something.
Got to keep the balance. Yeah. But
Yeah,
I think that would be, I think there's probably more interesting, possibly more cosmic answers out there, but only time will tell. That's what I think at this point.
Fair.
Okay. For your final question, my dear.
I get an extra final question.
You got two. Yeah, this is the first of two extra final questions for you. So, a cosmic ritual has been performed by all 5 avatars.
Okay.
What would the effect be? And why? Why are they performing this?
So I was thinking about this one a little bit because I was trying to think like what would get all the avatars together,
right,
and what would be worthy of them doing such a thing. And I think the easy answer, the thing that they would do, and I'm not saying this is the only way this could happen, but I think why would you see the 5 avatars together, and what would they be doing in cosmic ritual? They'd be making a new dragon. They'd be adding to their family.
I was so
That's
hoping you were going to say this. I was like, what could it be?
It would have to be adding to their family.
Yeah.
And that's just the way. Yeah, like what else would bring them together? That's what binds them and ties them is this bloodline, right? That they are siblings, and otherwise they're always like poking at each other and bothering each other, and this would be something worthy of them working together, would be making a sibling. So I think it would be that. And excuse me, my dog wants attention. Okay, my familiar's with me now. So yes, it would be that. The only other thing I could think of would be something like making the Drachenlands permanent, because we know, of course, each year the Drachenlands are created by the dragon that has won the tournament the previous year, and then they fade back into the mists. So making the lands permanent, or I did think of one other thing that would be worthy of 5 dragons in a cosmic ritual, which is moving the tournament to October.
Please let it be that last one. I love that. For a lore reason, I also think that would be very funny, though. Just
that would be funny, right? We're changing the climate. But no, I think it would be making a sibling would be why you would see the 5 avatars together.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and I think that's a good thing to touch on, too, because it's like, at the end of the day, you've talked about how this is a vacation for Keket. Like, it is a war game, but like, it is the coolest sibling contest. And like, getting to see the exchanges between all of the avatars acting as siblings that are kind of like, they are gods for all intents and purposes. They are, these very, very powerful beings that are otherworldly and very hard for us mere mortals and undead folk to understand. But it's really, really whimsical and nice when you get to see them just acting like siblings.
Yes, it is. It's lovely to see that. And I had some fun with that last year with making Abyssa, because we went to Silver to make. So obviously we asked for blessings from Blue and Shadow, because those are Abyssa's parents, are Edgar of Blue and Cassandra of Shadow, right? But we were like, we're creating something new. We weren't creating life, so we didn't need green, and we weren't necessarily planning to blow anything up or start a war, so we didn't need red. But we went to Silver and asked for his blessing, and he actually, we had some great RP around siblings and about that he knew the experience of being alone and what that was like, and that he would never wish that on any child, right? So despite everything, Silver loves his siblings.
Silver's a big softie.
He would never wish it on his siblings, and thus we actually had to get the blessing of the children of Drachenfest to create Abyssa, get them to agree that they would accept her as one of their own before Silver would give his blessing. So yeah, there's some softies, so there's some love there underneath it all, and yeah,
I love that.
They are good siblings at the end of the day.
I'll give you your second question, because it's a good segue, because you were talking about Baby Abyssa. But
yeah,
I love Baby Abyssa. The Drachenlands love Baby Abyssa. She is Shadowcamp's daughter. She's all of our daughters, really. But what do you think? What do you think Baby Abyssa is going to be when she grows up?
Any damn thing she wants to be.
Hell yeah.
I mean, in that sense, she is the child of Blue. She has that spark of freedom, and she will be whatever she wants to be. She's also her mother's daughter. I think she will be terrifying. In fact, she, I believe, does have the Shadow Avatar's blessing. He held her at one point and whispered his blessings to her about how she would strike fear into the hearts of all of her enemies. And
perfect. No notes.
So yeah, she'll be the end. I think also the Red Avatar was going to gift her like a phoenix or a salamander or some horrifying pet too. So she's going to be riding on like a fire monster, doing whatever the hell she wants, bringing about the end, and also just having the time of her life.
She's like kind of the only grandchild right now, so she's getting all the attention.
And since I knew it would come up, I just wanted to say, Abyssa says hello to everyone, and she's very excited to see you all for her first birthday this year.
Yay.
So yes.
Anyways. We love baby Abyssa.
Yes. Yeah, she'll be whatever she wants to be, and ain't nobody going to be able to stop her.
I think that's the most accurate path she could follow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that for her.
Yeah. So I think with that, the end, my friend.
Yeah, how do we close this out for this season? We've come a long way since in 8 episodes for this year.
Yeah. I guess just to remind everyone of the most important parts. Shadow's the best camp. We got the vibe. We're Goth Muppets. Come and join us and play with us. If you haven't already decided that you want to play with us and be in our camp, at least come and visit us and come check us out. And we hope to see you all at game and get to fail and then pick ourselves back up with you.
Yeah, we'll all find the fun together. I've got nothing to add. Well said, Emily. I think that's the best. That's the best way we can close this out. So yeah, we will see everybody in a mere few, like a week at this point. It is going to be, it's going to be a scant amount of time in which we will see you soon, and it's going to be a blast. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, same.
And I'm looking forward to playing with you.
Yes. Same.
It's going to be a good time. But yeah, to the end, everybody. That's it. That's all from us.
Yep.